Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Mindshift. Happy Monday to everyone. I hope you're ready. Pardon me. I hope you're ready to launch your week off positively. I appreciate everyone who is able to join, whether you join live or on the replay. I love seeing the comments and feedback from everybody. So, just to say, I really appreciate you however you join, whenever you join, and thank you for being here. My co host, Suniti, I got to hear from her, and she is not, she's dealing with migraines, so she has doctor's orders to avoid screen time. So, because of that, she's not here, and I'm flying solo. So today might be a bit different, but definitely if you're watching, even just a hi, how are you, happy Monday, anything like that, it's much appreciated because the system doesn't necessarily tell me who's here, who's viewing. Um, I see only your comments, whether you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn. I'm just flying blind here. And if I don't see comments, I don't know who's here. So thank you all. Let's get started. So today's topic is, as we said, it is about spiritual bypassing in your goal setting. Often we call this vision, right? Of course, I hope everyone watching has a vision. It's important. Um, I've heard that it's from the Bible. It says, without a vision, the people will perish. So you got to have a vision of what you want in life. What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your career to look like? What do you want your relationships to look like? But the danger comes, of course, visioning is important. Maybe you've got your vision board or something similar. You've written down your mission statement or your manifesto, like I have. You're working towards the next big thing. You're manifesting it per se. But you have to ask yourself, are you dreaming of a better future, or are you simply disassociating from your past or your present? Because not every vision is clarity. Sometimes it's just avoidance in disguise. You have to watch out that your goals don't become a form of spiritual theater. You manifest, but you're not willing to metabolize it. And in high achievers or high functioning people, productivity is the new drug of choice, right? We hear so much talk about productivity, be productive, be productive. But are you being productive to get things done, to move towards your vision, or are you avoiding, escaping? Right? As the quote I just put on the screen says, if you need the next level in order to feel safe, that's not visioning, that's escape, that's avoidance. So you have to ask yourself, you're the only one that can answer this. I can't answer it for you. I can only answer it for myself. On to part 2. Is your hustle simply a holy excuse? Do you say you're aligned, but you're overcommitted? or you're expanding and at the same time feeling disconnected? Are you mixing up effort with embodiment? Because effort is important, action is important, but it's not all of it, right? You have to move into this new version of yourself. You want to be aligned, you want to be expanding. You have to watch out for overcommitment, especially if you've ever been in that pleasing camp where you're saying yes too much. Are you expanding, but you're still disconnected? And when I say disconnected, of course, as entrepreneurs, leaders, sometimes we get into this isolation mode where we isolate. But I'm not talking about that type of isolation. What I'm talking about is you're right there with the people, but you're not connecting. So let me add another quote here. And that is, you can't bypass your becoming by branding burnout as purpose, right? Burnout happens because we're not aligned with our purpose. We're overcommitting, we're not aligned, or we think we're aligned, but we're not truly aligned. We're expanding, but disconnected. We're doing the lone wolf mode. We're trying to do it all ourselves. We're not willing to step back and take a pause. We're not willing to ask for help. We think we have to do it all by ourselves. It's the silly human conundrum, right? I see this in my 7-year-old son. He's 7 years old. I don't know where he gets this from, but he almost refuses to get help. Like he's struggling at something. And I just say, honey, ask for help. Tell me what you need. I'll help you. I won't help if you don't ask. And he won't ask. So I think it's somewhat, I don't know. Maybe it's innate. Maybe it's, the environment we've grown up in, the society, the messages we hear and see everywhere. But often, we have to grow before we're willing to reach out and ask someone for help, to ask for the support we need. We think we have to do it all ourselves. And that just leads to burnout. Now, all right, I see some comments. I guess there was some delay. Thank you, Leslie. Great question. Let me pop up that comment from Leslie. Leslie, I understand the independence thing, but he nearly refuses to ask for help. Leslie, Anil, Marcello, sorry. Thank you for popping those comments up. All right, I've got 2 questions about bypassing. So I'll pop Leslie's question up on the screen. How am I using the word bypassing, right? We can't, what I'm saying here is part of this is living into this identity, this embodiment of who we believe we want to be or who we want to be. And, often we get on a path and we're just full steam ahead and we're just focusing on the checklist, the task list, right? And that doesn't serve us. Right? We've got to work on ourselves. We need to do that inner work, that self-awareness. We've got to pay attention. So if you have more questions, definitely add that. This is challenging because talking alone, I need more practice at it for sure. And then there's a delay. So by the time I say something, by the time I see your comments, it's several minutes or seconds. I don't know. I haven't timed it. But our goals are important, but we've got to embrace the spiritual side, the internal side, that self-awareness part. It's very, very important. We cannot skip that inner transformation work. We have to go through the discomfort, dealing, exploring our shadow side, making shifts in our identity, right? It's many of us believe the do, be, have, but the way I have learned it now is you have to be to do to have, right? Becoming is becoming the new you. It's not about doing more. It's integration. It's healing. It's aligning with your values and purposes. And many of us who have become entrepreneurs or high achievers, we mix up hustling. There's a hustle culture, hustle, overwork, that constant push. I've got this mission. I'm going to push, 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 push. And burnout is almost, for some, it's like, I don't know, it feels like a trophy. Like, oh, I burned out and this is what I learned. This is more of, burnout is not proof of your drivenness. It's a sign of you've abandoned yourself to be impactful or useful or, chasing the fire. Right? Some people have even spiritualized this burnout, this exhaustion, right? It's my calling. I'm being stretched. It's part of the process. The problem is we get addicted to this belief, this performance, and we don't take rest. Right? We try to escape the shadow, the things, the discomforts, which goes on to talking about integrity, right? Our vision, it has to be in integrity with our being, and that includes our shadow side. Absolutely, Leslie. Burnout is a general term, and the truth is it's become a buzzword, we'll say, in online spaces, like burnout, 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 burnout. But I've seen founders who are aligned, they have their vision, they have their mission, they're taking care of the spiritual side, the inner work, the inner transformation, and they put hours and hours and hours and so much energy, and they just keep going. Like they seem to have this endless well to draw from. So, as I was saying, vision with integrity, you have to include the shadow. It doesn't, this real vision, like a true vision, isn't just exciting. It's challenging. Like it challenges us to integrate our whole being, right? Every part of us, to heal those the traumas and the shadow parts. Becoming is evolving, yeah, definitely. It's an evolution, right? You don't wake up one day and I'm evolved. It's a process, by a step-by-step process. And if we haven't processed and healed, that can hijack us on our path of what we're trying to build. It's not about avoiding the mess. Sacred goals, aligned goals, they embrace the mess. They honor it, right? Life is messy. We have a lot of baggage and junk. Shadows are fears. It's the parts of ourself that is the part we want to deny. It's the conditioning. We're told we're too loud, we're too much, we're too dreamy, we're too much in our head. Stop daydreaming, get real. There are parts of us that we want to hide away. We don't even want to look at them, right? The shadow side is an important part of us, and we have to integrate it into it's actually the power, right? It's that, we disown it, we hide it, we reject it because we were taught that it was bad, unacceptable, etc. Carl Jung taught this in psychology, right? It's those suppressed emotions, anger, envy. I suppressed anger for too long. Envy, neediness, your desires, right? What do you desire? And do you embrace those desires, or do you deny the desires? Do you judge the desires, right? What are the truths? As Leslie pointed out, the fears, your insecurities, the ambition, right? The parts of ourself that don't fit our good image, right? That image that we think the world wants us to show. Yeah, everybody's nailing this. It is about evolution. If we don't face the shadow and integrate it, it will run our life from the background. It shows up as people pleasing so that you don't feel selfish. It shows up an overachievement because you feel inadequate or you don't feel enough. You're being nice quote, not kind. Kind is different. Being nice instead of being honest. Setting goals or keeping moving to avoid this emptiness rather than pursuing them to build meaning. Right? Shadow work, according to Jung, is about owning every part of ourself, the light and the dark, letting emotions be signals and teachers, not controlling or not letting them control us. Interesting. Okay, let's see. What's Leslie say? Good question. And I don't have the answer today, Leslie. But I think a lot of it is because they're chasing a goal that doesn't align. It's not even their goal, right? You have to evaluate, like, is this thing I'm pursuing, is it really what I want? Or was it passed to me from teachers, parents, etc.? Right? Instead of avoiding the shadow side, the fears, face them, walk through them, live your truth, evolve to your full and complete self, and follow your path according to your vision, your values, your purpose. Right? Reclaim your power by integrating the things that we've been avoiding. Right? Don't chase the light and avoid the depth. Bring both, because that's where your real strength lies, is in embracing and integrating all the parts of you. I was having a discussion about ego on Substack recently on this, about ego death and killing the ego. And I was like, yeah, I need to kill the ego. But I've now, I've learned it's not about killing the ego. The ego has a purpose, it has a use. It's about not letting it drive the bus all the time, right? It's about using it where appropriate, but managing it, being, you're the pilot, not the ego. Right. And connected to our last week, part of this work requires pausing, taking time for stillness, so that we can examine all of us, right? Our entire being, light, dark, and everything in between, so that we can acknowledge the emotions, learn to manage them, as Anil said. Personal, it's about managing your emotions. I teach my son, your emotions you can let them drive the bus, or you can let them ride the bus. It's your choice, right? Our emotions are part of being human. We're going to feel them. All right. So I have a question in the banner, or in the ticker. What is the truth you're skipping over in the name of alignment? I don't need the answer. This, as I said, these are for you, not for me. This is for the viewers, for each of us to ask ourselves, what truth am I skipping over in the name of alignment? And journal it, sit down and journal it and write it out. And there's a great power in writing this out. Nobody ever has to see it, right? It's about evaluation. It's about inner examination, to align and make sure that we're not skipping over a truth, that we're embracing all of us, every part, every belief, every truth. We're looking at it, we're examining it in detail to make sure that we're not skipping parts, to deny them, to put them, to relegate them to the shadow, as Jung's taught. When you integrate the shadow, and other psychologists teach this as well. All right, I'm going to pop this up. It's the halfway point. I don't have a co-host, so I'd love to have you join the conversation. Anybody that would like to join, share your voice, share your thoughts, share your ideas. Love to hear from you. While I'm waiting on that, here's another question. When, let's see what's on, they'll say, originality, individual excellence is lost in the name of alignment. Exactly. We think we're aligned, but we're not. We haven't really examined the dark parts, right? Or all the parts of ourselves. Love to hear more on that, and Anil, from you, Anil Kumar. What are your thoughts on that? How do we connect alignment and originality and excellence so that it works together? And Zion, Mr. Positivity, thank you for joining us. So glad to have you here. Let me pop this in the chat too, the link, because I know sometimes people, it's easier if I pop the link into the chat. If you want to use a voice option you can join the stage with the link that I just put in the chat, and you can share your voice. You can go on camera or stay off camera like I am. I know usually with my co-host we are on video, but when I'm flying alone, I just do audio only. So I went searching. I said I didn't really have the direct answer on Leslie's question earlier about the research of very few people ever achieve their goals with consistency. What I found is one reason is those goals are set from emotion instead of from the embodiment, from the being, the identity. We do it out of guilt or hype or external pressure instead of that grounded, who am I? Who am I becoming? Who do I want to be? And there's Anil. Great to have him. Hello, sir. Okay, now I got to go video. I can't leave you up there with video on your own.
Yeah. Hi. I'm audible?
Good to. Yes, you are. I hear you perfectly.
Let me just, I'm hearing double. I need to switch off from LinkedIn, I think.
Yes, that's the challenge.
Hi.
Hello, welcome to Monday
Thank,
Mindshift. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on stage,
thank you.
sharing your voice.
Yeah, personally, I felt this stuff in the the name of alignment, we miss out people who are probably have some individual capabilities which are very valuable to the organization. And over a
Okay.
period of time, we make them uh, robots, I think.
So let me ask you this, Anil. When we say alignment, what do what do you take that to mean? Or this thing that causes that those robotic machines turning humans into machines
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. So you probably have something told to you and you keep doing that. Probably I have seen that for your success, you have to be slightly different from your competitors, right? And
Hmm.
sometimes that voice is not heard, and over a period of time that gets killed and you become an order taker.
Right. And that's why I asked the definition, because one thing I've learned in my journey is words can have very different meanings for different organizations, different people. So I always like to ask, like, how do you understand alignment?
Yeah.
Somebody asked that on my Substack, because I had written a note that, because I'm part of a challenge of posting a note every day for 30 days, which is a powerful challenge, like getting into a good rhythm and engaging my creative muscle. And they asked, like, you said you write for alignment. What do you mean? So I had the opportunity. When I say alignment, what I'm talking about is alignment with our true purpose and our values,
Okay.
right? Like following the path that energizes us and drives us, right? Instead of a push motivation, which a lot of times we get this push motivation, right? Do better on your performance review. Take that course so you can get a better job. Whereas when we align with who we are and what is most important to us, it's a pull, right? It draws
Yeah.
us, like, I want to go there.
Yeah. I probably got confused with the alignment of an organization, probably, right? So something in an organization, you have 100 people, and some of them might be way ahead of time in their thought process, in the way the economy is going to evolve, the products are going to come, but that gets killed. And that's the reason why the startup culture has evolved, where people can probably invest in their ideas and in their thought process. Probably I got confused with organization alignment vis-a-vis your personal alignment.
And I wouldn't consider it confused. It's just that's why I wanted to clarify, because that's why that was my first question. And I just want to welcome Melanie. Thank you for popping in. I know she said she was going to try to pop in. Um, so tell me a little more about you, Anil. What are you doing in your career? How do you use LinkedIn? What brought you to this chat today?
Spirituality is something that I've been following from last 17 years. So initial part, I'm a CFA by qualification, been a fund manager in Bombay, India. I
Okay.
manage a fund size and I've been advisor to banks, treasury on fixed income, forex, derivatives. Pretty much at the peak of the career, and then spirituality totally changed me. That your life has to be 360 degree. It cannot be just designation and money. It
Hmm.
needs to have inner peace. And probably I shifted city, I shifted profession, and that has given me a real definition of what life is. You could be happy with few $1,000 and you might not be happy with probably a bigger amount in your bank balance as well. So it's all depends on how to calm down your nerves. And what I've seen is in the last 17 years, I moved to IT, digital transformation, been involved with three big transformation projects for a few big banks and capital market firms in India and also globally. I was able to achieve not because of the knowledge, probably pretty much I think everyone has. And that's where I'm very bullish on the emotional management, right? Sometimes we
Right.
blow away our success when we are emotionally not stable. And it's not just your career, you break your teams, your project gets screwed up. So, probably once you are stable, probably you are, I think that's the prime factor for your leadership skills, for your project success, and more than that, it's quite essential for your own self development, I would say. So end
Right.
of the day,
Well,
you sleep, you are more calm.
yes, and I've seen this. I was born and raised in the United States, which, so I grew up in a middle class family, so I've seen, the average, life is okay, it's not perfect, but hey, we're not hungry, right?
Yeah,
We have a
exactly.
house, we have a car, we have the things we need.
Yeah.
And
So I would
actually,
suggest anyone, people think spirituality different from your career and different from your professional life. What I see is a part of your 360-degree development as well. It
and
definitely helps you in your career. It definitely helps you in a decision making, and it helps you in having on your health aspect as well from a health perspective.
and I would 100% agree. There we are not like a warehouse shelf where you can put this box and that box and keep
Yeah,
everything neat and organized. Everything, like your spirituality, your career, your home, your health, it's all, we are
interlinked.
holistic, right? You 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 improve this area and other things will improve with it. You improve your spirituality, your emotional intelligence, your emotional management, and everything else will get better as well.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I have
Yes.
encountered stories where people are on the seesaw because of a misguided belief in their mind that they got when they were younger, where where if my career is rocking, then my relationships are
Yes.
not going to work. And if my relationships are good, the business goes down. And there's people that do this. But I moved out of the US 12 years ago to a developing country. Nick, thank you for joining us. Part of Team Live. We moved to Belize and we lived in a Mayan village. Now, these people lived very simply, right? The way they had eggs is they had chickens.
Mm.
And they had enough chickens that when they wanted chicken to eat, they killed one of those chickens and cooked it up and invited us to join them. Like, hey, we're having a special celebration. Come join us. They were, by others' standards, they were very, very poor. And I've seen it here in Guatemala too, where I live now. They don't have a lot of resources, not
Yeah.
in financial, they might be riding the bus everywhere, but they are the happiest people you've ever met. So yes, your career, your money, it's just one part of the equation. It's like all of it that has to work together to bring joy, peace, fulfillment, contentment,
Yes.
and spirituality is a big part of that, right? We've got to embrace look at our shadow side, explore it, integrate it. Don't just chase a goal, a career, because you know it, I was just reading, what was I just reading about this, how often the bad habits or these goals, we're just running away from something, we're trying to hide away from something. That's what it was. It was a smoker, and the person was smoking because it was their moment of 2 minutes away from the kids and all the noise. That was the main reason they smoked. They lost their best friend to cancer,
Yeah.
but they continued to smoke. And they go, with evaluation, they said, they're just trying to avoid something. So a lot of times, and there's two driving forces that I've learned about. There's pain and pleasure. Pleasure draws us to it, pain we want to run away from, right?
Yeah.
And that desire to run away from pain is the stronger of the two.
Yeah, and that's where I have seen, right, what has changed in me is the burnout that I was having as a fund manager.
Hmm.
Probably sitting in India, Greenspan makes a statement in the night, India night time, and morning my portfolio is eroded. That's create a stress which is not in my hands, right? City commute is not in my hand, but that creates a stress right from the day you start your day.
Hmm.
But spirituality has given a different meaning to life. We know you can treat both the success and failure at the same quotient level. You don't get too excited with success, nor you get too depressed with your failures, and that helps in your decision making, that helps in your family relationship, that helps to balance, and finally it helps in your work. I would say maintaining relationship with your colleagues, managing those projects. So for me, last 17 years, I would say that some of those medicines, right, which I used to take on blood pressure,
Right.
stress, has automatically gone away.
Right. Yeah, a lot of these health conditions, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, are either caused or made worse
Yeah,
by that
the stress.
the stress. And often the stress is, like you said, as you said, like, I imagine when you were a fund manager, your friends, your family, people from the outside said, "Look at Anil, he's doing so good, he's so successful." But that inside you were just like
Yeah,
on pins
exactly.
and needles, as we say,
Yeah.
right? You're like, what's the, what if Greenspan makes an announcement and the whole market goes phew and it's gone.
That's one, and second is the society, right? After some time, you start living for others rather than living for yourself, and that's the
Absolutely.
worst thing you can do, right? So you have a pain inside, but you give a smiling face to the outside world, and you probably are happy with an artificial success. Um, and people did tell me, so most of my friends who stayed in the same line are at bank CEO level.
Hmm.
And they told me that you took the worst decision in life of leaving this field, shifting to technology, shifting to another city. But now, if you look 15 years down the line, probably they are regretting because whatever they have achieved from a designation or money perspective, it's getting compensated on the health perspective. So money that you have earned. So somewhere life is balancing, right? So somewhere you achieve
Right.
something and then you lose something. So end of your life, it gets balanced out.
Right. And the other thing is like when we're chasing a goal, as we said, to
Yeah,
bypass that alignment or to bypass the pain and discomfort, it will come back and get us, right? Like you said, life will balance it out.
yeah.
We can't run forever.
But thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak with the others. I hope I'm not diverted the topic.
I appreciate it. Like I feel lost sometimes just talking to myself. And honestly, when I'm alone, I tend to cut this at 30 minutes or so because I've gotten very used to my co host, Suniti.
Hmm.
Like, we, we actually have to, like, cut it off so that we have time to let other people speak
Yeah,
because we could talk for hours. We could go on and on for hours on whatever topic.
sure.
Um, so I really appreciate your willingness to come on the screen and share your thoughts. Because you brought up some great points and you brought into focus that you know that distinction. Like I said, what does this word mean? What does fulfillment mean? What does alignment mean? It's
Yeah,
important, because 8 billion people on the earth, there's 8 billion possible definitions
yeah,
for any word. And yes, some of us have very similar So I heard you mention burnout. Is that like what was the big point that caused the shift for you?
I would say the health
17
issues.
years ago, the
Yeah,
health
so
issue.
I would say the health issue was the big reason. The second, the success was not giving me happiness. While people around my social circle were happy at my progress, but internally I was feeling that I might not continue this for another 2 years or 3 years. My life might get end
Right.
if
You
I
might,
continue
yeah,
the
you
same.
felt like you were on a like a fuse, right? Like a bomb that
Yeah,
was about to go off. You
yeah,
didn't know how
yeah,
long the
and
fuse was, but it felt
and
short.
people and it's difficult to explain to the outside world. So what goes inside, outside people don't understand that. It looks a simple mathematical formula, more the efforts, more the success, but that's not true. Sometimes more the efforts brings down to your success because of the stress that gets created. And so it's more about consistency. Can you put the effort over a longer period of time? And
Right.
probably
Yeah.
that's more
Is
important
it
for your
sustainable? Right. Is this
sustainability. Yeah.
sustainable?
Yeah. And most of us, we do mistake at an younger age when, as you said, I also belong to middle class family. So you have the hunger for making money, hunger to reach to the top. And in that, you lose out on the health grounds, probably put more the efforts which are not sustainable for longer terms. And
Right.
when you realize slightly you have lost some of your time. So I was lucky enough to realize early and then take the corrective action.
Right. Make a shift while you still could make a shift.
Yeah,
Right. I was reading some quotes from a book by a hospice care nurse. It's was about the regrets of the dying. Like this nurse had spent time with people in their final moments, and she heard from a variety of people, from average middle class people up to very wealthy, successful people, and a lot of the stories were the same. They regretted the same things. I didn't do this. I didn't go see this country I wanted to see. I didn't spend more time with my kids or my wife or doing the thing I love.
true,
You know,
true.
you
And that's
you
what I
you you woke up and I woke up about 17 years ago because I nearly blew my life up. Literally.
no reason we are in the same discussion, right?
Yes.
And this topic attracted me, so I just wanted to join and probably hear it from you. Whether it's my the feeling that I have is with me, and if probably if someone can get benefited, more than happy with that.
Right. And that's what I'm out here doing this is because it's about impact. If I can share
Clearly,
something and someone feels that little shift that even just makes them stop and go, wait, you know, is this
yeah,
really where I want to be?
yeah. It makes you think, right? And once you start thinking, that's where I think the change happens. So most of the time we are into our day-to-day routine life without having time for our own self. Uh, and the day you have time for your own self to sit quietly, listen to your inner voice, I think most of the answers. I don't think you need answers from anyone.
No,
You get
no.
answers your inside.
Right. My mentor taught it's not about having the resources. It's resourcefulness. But in order to be resourceful, we have to pause. We
Yeah,
have to break the loop because often we can get in this autopilot mode. We're chasing this thing this path that we're on, and we're just. I remember when I worked full time and the early years of my marriage, we didn't have kids back then. God didn't bring, life didn't bring us children until we were much older. And I barely saw my wife. She was traveling around the country all the time. I was working long hours at, like you said, the long commute. It's like, am I working to live or am I living to work?
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
was like, my whole life was about work. That was all I could do. I didn't have a life.
True. Open to someone else wants to pitch up, and thanks everyone for listening out to me.
Yes. Thank you for joining, Anil. Much
Thank you.
appreciated.
Thanks a lot.
Look forward to catching you again sometime. Feel
Sure.
free to come back anytime and add your thoughts, add your ideas.
Sure.
It's what I do this for.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have an awesome week.
Yeah. You too.
All
Bye.
right. All right. Well, that was great to have Anil come up and share his perspective. I open this to anyone. You don't have to go on video. You can come and share your thoughts. Share it in the comments, whatever. Share it after the event. I really appreciate everybody's input and hearing other ideas, because we only grow when we exchange ideas. If I just sat here pontificating about my ideas that might help you, it's not helping me. And I want to grow just like anyone else. I haven't arrived. I will be the first to admit that. It's as was being said earlier, it's an evolution. It's a day by day process to learn, to grow. Often when I'm teaching or sharing, I'm teaching myself first, because this is all valuable stuff, and it's things even, all of us can use the reminder, right? But here's a quick question to ask yourself in closing. A quick gut check. Like, go with your first response. Don't think about this too much. And I will put this in the messages. Whatever you're doing, whatever goal you're perceiving or pursuing, sorry, ask this simple question: is this action a reflection of who I really am, or just who I think I should be? Right? We have to be careful about these shoulds, whether they're the shoulds we tell ourselves or the shoulds we heard from others. It's very common, no shoulding. Thank you, everyone, for your time, your input, your questions. Thanks again, Anil, for coming on stage. Much appreciated. And we'll catch you guys all next week.